Welcome bowyers. Today I'm going to show you how to do this unbelievably cheap method to glue up bows that only cost about $6, kind of. But it's really easy to do. Let's jump into it. Basically ready to glue up now. Riser, 2 short fiberglass, 2 short bamboo, 1 long glass, 1 long bamboo. Form set is behind me. I'm gonna time lapse this because if I could glue on my hands, I don't like to touch the camera. Don't have any videographer, so that's the best way to whatever. But basically what I do is I put glue on it, I put it over here. Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll tell you the process. 2-part epoxy, EA40. I place it on a heat strip to act as a warmer. The glue or the epoxy becomes more spreadable when it's hot. You want to protect the form from the glue. So adding a little bit of shrink wrap or plastic wrap will create a nice barrier. That way the form will be reusable. Next, shop towel and some poison. This will clean the fiberglass. You can look how dirty that is. That's gonna allow better adhesion and a stronger glue joint. I'll clean every single part, the fiberglass and bamboo, and the riser. Frog tape, you should use some frog tape on the back of your fiberglass to keep the glue from sticking. The frog tape, that's $15 a roll, is the only one you should use because it's the only one that comes off easily. I'm doing a glue up right now and I'll be back after it. Mix the epoxy. Once you mix it, you have a pot time. That's the amount of time before it starts to set up. EA40 pot time is dependent on how hot it is. The hotter it is, the quicker it sets up. But also, if it's really warm, it is easier to apply. So it's like a positive and a negative. Easy to apply, but it sets up quicker. A little harder to apply, it sets up slower. Okay, new set of gloves on. This is what we look like right now. All the pieces are up. I failed to mention that I marked the center of the bamboo, the fiberglass, and the riser, and then the form has the center marked as well. That way everything can stay in a line. First, we want to do some saran wrap. Issue with this is if you pull it tight, it will start to slide the riser in the opposite direction. And then I push it back the other way by doing this fade out. Yeah, just like that. And then we're gonna go down the whole thing. This is not clamping. This is protection from glue. Next is some pressure strips. These will keep everything even so that as I add pressure and clamp this down, it evenly spreads it over the entire limb. But the pressure strips will be followed by a heat strip. This is just a silicone strip that heats up to very hot temperature to cure the epoxy. And actually, we are going to reverse that. Heat strip, then pressure strip. Now I built this form with these holes here so that I could throw a large C-clamp on to do pressure points extremely strong here and on the fade outs. Light pressure at first. Then I build these in extremely tough 1/4 inch rubber with the same material that we have for the backing. What this does is allows us to throw a clamp right here, and it's going to bend evenly and distribute the pressure over the fade out so that we get a perfect glue up every single time without using those fire hoses that drive me crazy. So I'm only slowly tightening it down, and then I'm gonna start on this side. That way we don't shift the center of the handle. Bunch of squeeze out. Better to have more squeeze out than none at all. And then we can tighten these down, moving between the clamps to make sure nothing slides. My clamping method of choice today is rubber bands. Take the rubber band, start up at the riser, hook it on, boom. I'll put like 100 of those suckers on, and it does a phenomenal job. There is, however, one potential area of failure when using rubber bands. But have you ever seen one of those videos where they tie like rubber bands around a watermelon and they continue to do it until the watermelon explodes? Well, that provides a ton of pressure. So on these fade outs, you want to just overkill, because that's the only time where the material is bending stiffer. And if you do a heavy draw bow, then the material could be so stiff that the bands couldn't bend them. But in this case, there's no problem. I threw a bunch of them on there, we're good to go. Also, the other concern you may have, get the lighting a little better, is that the heat strips are going to be in contact with the rubber bands, making the rubber less elastic as they get hotter and hotter. And that's exactly why I put the pressure strip on top. And from the 3 bows I've done before this with this method, the bands had enough elasticity at least to give a really good glue up. Even though you can tell in some of the spots that touched the heat strip, they did stretch out in that area, but the rest of the band kept pulling it down. That it was fine and they didn't break. That's it for today. If you want to see me finish out this bow, don't really subscribe, but just search Kramer Ammons on YouTube, because that's my name. But subscribing won't help you see anything. You can if you want to give me more social currency, but besides that, we'll see you on the next video.